a lot of analysts have already kind of made that leap. I'm not ready to make that leap just yet, but I do tell you that I think it could become a much worse crisis the longer this thing festers. And especially, and this is the interesting thing, remember, all of these countries inevitably have their currencies already weakened, but they're also, all of them, very big buyers of oil. That's the key thing here. If you have, the crisis could really get exacerbated if price of oil goes up. If, for example, our tensions with Iran force oil prices to go up above $70 a barrel, then you have like this pincer movement of a lower currency in the EM, the rupiah, the rupee, all of them getting hurt very much by higher oil prices, all of which, of course, is priced in dollars. That's the key thing here. And then you could have a very, very serious crisis. Yes, so we're not quite there yet, but the components for it are really setting up into a very much of a perfect storm.
You know, I loved how you laid it out there, because if you go back to other crises, and I'm not saying we have one yet, certainly in Turkey they do with the currency,
yes.
Oil plays a massive role because it is really the ultimate equalizer, a great tax on everybody from the rich down to the poor, because they effectively play the same price. And as most oil is priced in U.S. dollars,
right,
it just makes it almost impossibly more expensive for people to get around. That's why currency crises almost always end up as some form of political crisis. Do you believe there is a political crisis in Turkey right now?
Oh, there no doubt is. And as a matter of fact, the problem with Turkey is that, of course, they're trying to create a political solution to what is an economic problem. And that's why I think the speculators are just waiting. I think right now the currency market is basically waiting to see what they do next. Erdogan really doesn't want to lose face and have to raise rates, which is the natural course of action. But here's the thing, even if they do raise rates and dollar Turkey goes above 7, that is a death knell for them, in my opinion, because I think right now, of course, the talk in the FX market right now is that if dollar Turkey goes above 7, pretty much all the Turkish banks are insolvent. They're holding it underneath 7 right now, but this is the barrier that's going to get broken. If it does get broken, it's going to have, I think, a big contagion effect all across FX. We're going to have a much more of a risk-off flows in the next couple of days. So this is the level everybody's watching.
Yeah, we flipped that. That was lira. What we just showed our viewers, Boris, was lira to dollars. If we flip it and go dollar to euro to lira, you want to watch 7 to 1. Do you think that we will get there? Is that sort of the if pardon the bad pun, the Bosphorus Strait of where we need to be for the currency to hold?
I think the specs are very much aiming for that point of view. The other thing that could be a huge policy error, and I'm actually completely not certain that he may not go this way, is he could seize all of those euro-denominated, dollar-denominated assets that are in Turkish banks and convert them forcibly into lira as an act of nationalism, and that would really, for sure, push dollar Turkey above 7 and could create a much worse crisis. So my point is that I think right now what you're seeing is very bad reactive policy actions by him, simply because as a strong man, I think for the first time in his life, he does not understand that no bully in the world has ever won against the currency market. Currency markets destroy all political bullies ever, and I think he simply doesn't understand that this is the one match he can't win.
Currency crises have also brought down some of the world's biggest and oldest banks. Here's looking at you, Barings Bank, back in the 1990s. Let's not forget that the finance minister of Turkey, and this is no knock necessarily on his credibility, Belrat al-Bayrak, is Erdogan's son-in-law.
Yeah.
So at least on that measure, it's not impossible to see that the central bank is not independent there, is it, Boris? That they are going to do the bidding ultimately of the president. They're not going to be like our Fed, which ostensibly is independent, although I know a lot of people would disagree with that basic sentiment. But the idea is that they're going to do what's best for the currency and monetary policy.
Correct.
We can't guarantee that from Turkey, can we?
No, absolutely not. No, the policy is all encapsulated in one man. It's a strong man country, and you're seeing the end result of that is a very, very bad economic outcome. Investors are losing faith. This has really got triggered by the fact when he got elected again and started to really curtail all sorts of freedoms in Turkey, investors started to pull out capital, and now you have a full-on capital flight here at this point. So if he institutes some sort of capital controls, that's just going to really push everything over the edge.